What's going on? My name is Brian with Never Alone Recovery. We've got our friend here, Sober Barbie, also known as Krista, on with us. Say hi, Krista.
Hey guys, I'm happy to be here. I love what Never Alone Recovery is doing. They're real life people offering 24-hour support for people so they don't feel alone because this is like the loneliest thing ever. And I love the connection we are forming and I'm happy to be here.
All right. So today we're going to talk about what you can do when you're ready to surrender and what do you do when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're going to share a little bit of our experience with that. And if you guys have any comments or you guys are struggling, reach out. The number's on the bottom of the live. We'll start with you, Krista.
Um, I didn't have any control when I was ready to stop. The police department decided I was ready to stop and locked me up, but I share my story so people don't have to hit that level. But it was a huge wake up call for me because they say in recovery, self doesn't see self, but that's not just recovery, that's everybody on this earth. You can't see what you're doing. And sometimes it takes an outside force to tell you you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And I mean, it was like inmates with some serious crimes that told me what I was doing wrong and gave me support, which was pretty eye opening. And from jail, I decided I needed treatment and went to rehab. And this was 10 years ago. I'll have 10 years of sobriety in August. So times have changed a lot since then, but we're still out here struggling. And you really don't know what someone's going through. Like, I didn't even know myself that I was actually going through stuff. I just kept numbing and numbing and numbing. And I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. So, alcohol was my main thing, but I did dabble in the other stuff. And when I went to recovery, I was just like blown away by why is everyone not doing recovery? Like, not even just alcoholics and addicts. We all can benefit from healing. And I've just been out here sharing my story to help bridge the gap. So,
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, I think we hear people talk about like you got to hit rock bottom, right? And I disagree with that because I lived on the bottom for so long. And not that I was comfortable on the bottom, but like I was used to it. It was just what it was. And you would have thought my rock bottoms or those moments, the gift of desperation, right, would have come way before it did. I've been arrested 52 times myself. I've been to treatment 16 times. I've been
wow.
homeless, countless loss of jobs. And I was actually thinking on the way here, the amount of cars I lost to the police or the impound, right? We're talking 20 vehicles that I lost due to being impounded because of my drug addiction. And it was like, wow, I would have thought one of those moments from the homelessness to the arrest to all the stuff that I experienced through active addiction, not to mention, the overdoses and the fights and all the crime that comes with it. You would have thought those would have been enough for me to change my ways, but they weren't. My surrendering moment looked very different than I would have expected. Um, somebody in my life, another addict that was in recovery, actually set some boundaries and stuck by them, said what they meant, and said, if you cross this line, it's done. And I had never had anybody do that to me. I had never had anybody actually enforce some boundaries. I would always talk my way out of it. And, they enforced those boundaries and basically they were supporting me because I couldn't hold a job. I was out committing crime all day while they were at work. And, they were supporting me when it came to food, car insurance, groceries, gas, the clothes, the shoes on my feet. And this friend stripped me down of the clothes that I was wearing that day once I crossed that line. Said, take the shoes off, take the clothes off. I bought that. That stuff's mine. and I had to walk in front of her parents, right? So I had to walk from the living room to my vehicle outside in the rain with all of my worldly possessions stripped because I didn't own them. I didn't earn them. I didn't pay for them. And that was a moment where I was like, wow, again, I've lost people in my life because I can't stop using drugs. And they lived on the second house from the stop sign. So the second house from the corner. And by the time I made it from the second house to the stop sign, I made a decision that I was going to change my ways. And I was actually on the phone with the treatment center to get me into treatment to find a new way of life because I was tired of living the way I was living, the dereliction, the pain. And it's not just the stuff that I did to other people. Of course, that hurts, but it was like the pain I put myself through. I was tired of causing chaos in everybody else's life. So that was the determining factor, deciding moment in my life where I said, enough's enough. I don't want to use drugs anymore, despite how I feel. Because I don't know about you, Krista, but mine was a self medication thing, right? Because I had a bunch of pain, I had a bunch of trauma, I had a bunch of life experiences that I felt like were unfair. And yes, some of those things I shouldn't have been through in my life, but there's plenty of people with bad lives that don't hurt other people. There's plenty of people with bad lives that don't use drugs. So, you know, I had a moment of realization also, like playing the victim is what keeps me sick. So I had to take my power back in that moment and become willing to talk about some things that typically before I wasn't willing to talk about. And then as I became willing, things changed. So what would you say for you? What was that moment
Sorry, I have
other
a
than the arrest?
gotta go.
But like you
You
just
gotta go.
knew in your
I'm sorry. My
that's all right.
3-year-old. Baylor, okay. You have to go. Take that out there. Okay. I tried to bribe them. You gotta go out there. You
Yeah,
don't get your prize. Okay? Don't get a prize. Gotta go out there with Hux. Okay? Sorry. I thought I
that's
had
all
this
right.
all mapped out. Real quick, real quick. This is a blessing of recovery. Say hi. All
Yes.
right,
Hi.
bye. Go. Gotta go out there, okay? Okay, then be quiet. All right. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
That's the benefit of having like Zooms and stuff. I'm able to do a lot of stuff at home, and I do all my recovery work from here. Huxley can turn it on. Um, all right, take it out there. You have to take it out there. Take it out there. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
That's all
Little
right.
entertainment for us here.
Those are the gifts of recovery.
I know, and I'm able to like handle it. I'm
Yeah.
always thinking like, wow, if I was drunk, I would not have been able to like be there for my kid, or or they notice even when I'm a little distracted, like you're not paying attention to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God I'm sober. But the thing about what you were saying though is that um like not everyone needs to hit rock bottom, and a lot of people are so far gone that they're like, but I'm already at bottom, how worse can it get? It can get worse. And I can't believe how many cars you lost and how many times you've been to jail, and you still couldn't, it wasn't clicking. And thank God you're still here, because with statistics you should not be here right now. And like with my addiction was alcohol, so mine was normalized. Like people, like everyone else was doing it, why couldn't I do it? And I always say I'm allergic and break out in handcuffs, because it is true. And I have about, not as many arrests, but about 10, but they were always violent, and I was facing 20 years. And if I didn't do something the right then and there, then um I would be halfway through my sentence right now, and I would definitely not have found. I probably would not. What I've heard is in prison they do a lot worse stuff. So I probably wouldn't be sober, and I'd probably try and still fit in the crowd. And it was always trying to fit into the crowd, and try to just be like everybody else. And I think that was because getting to the root of the problem is that was it. I wanted to be like everyone else. I didn't know who I was until I cleared all this junk out. It was like the alcohol and drugs were like filtering me, and I couldn't see my true self. And I just the how normal everyone else could be drinking, and I'd either not stop drinking at the end of the night, or I'd end up in jail. And I think with me too is, like, I'm the opposite of you. I had a lot of enabling. Like, but my parents thought they were helping me, but it wasn't. It was making things a lot harder for me. And I didn't know it. I was just getting off. And
I
it
had a
just,
family member tell me, I love you to death, but I will not love you to death. I will not enable your poor behavior. I won't help you get one more. I won't pay for this. I won't do any of that. I will love you and support you if you're willing to do the work to get recovery, find recovery, keep recovery. But I'm not going to do all the stuff that makes your life easier so you don't got to worry about your basic responsibilities so you can just go run the streets and get high. And I used to be jealous of friends that had parents that would enable them. I've got one particular buddy in mind, and like he didn't have to struggle the way I had to struggle. And the addict I was, I always wanted the easy way. I always wanted the work to be done for me. That's why I
instant
didn't get recovery.
gratification.
I was involved in 12-step fellowships since 2009. I didn't get clean and stay clean until 2023. So I wanted to go in, I wanted to hang around, I wanted to do the things, the social things. I didn't want to work any steps. I didn't want to look at my behavior or my part of the problem in all of my problems because I was the problem, right?
And it's
And
easy to look
it's
at everyone else's
of
problems.
course, point out their defects, point out what they're doing or not doing. And a minute ago you were just talking about you didn't know who you were, you wanted to fit in. So I recently went on a trip for work, and we went to NASA, like behind the scenes in an airplane hangar. And I was talking to one of the pilots, and he's got all the NASA gear on, and I'm asking him questions like, "How'd you know you wanted to do this? Have you known since you were a kid? This and that." And I always say the joke of like, I don't know what I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And he posed the question to me, well, who do you want to be? And it could almost bring me to tears today still because I was never comfortable in my own skin. I never wanted to be me. I always wanted to be him or him or him or have money like him or jealous of him because of his girlfriend or jealous because his house was nicer. I was a hater because I didn't know who I was. I was broken. I was super insecure. I was angry. And when that man asked me at NASA last week, who do you want to be? My response was me, myself. For the
What
first
dope.
time, I am comfortable in my own skin, regardless of what you think. And the power that comes with that, like recovery has given me so much because I couldn't see my life without the use of drugs. I had no clue that it was possible. I could see it happen in other people's lives. But I always would say, because I'm unique, right? I'm special, I'm different, meaning you haven't experienced the pain that I've experienced. You haven't experienced the trauma that I've experienced. So if you experience what I experienced, you would get high too. And that again, that victim mentality kept me sick for a long time until, I became willing to do the little things. I'm not the most step working guy in the world. I am not the most um best journalist and where I'm writing in my journal, I'm writing gratitude lists. I'm not the best at all those things, but the difference is I'm willing today to put forth some effort
And you're
because
true to
I've got some
yourself.
gratitude. The
You're true.
gratitude today.
Yeah. Gratitude multiplies.
It
It
does. It
multiplies everything.
compounds. And I always think, and I talk about this a lot. So I'm sure you've heard it. People in early recovery get that pink cloud feeling, right? Where it's like everything's magical. I can keep that. I've still got that with 2 years, 2 months clean. I've still got the pink cloud because the pink cloud to me is gratitude, simple gratitude. Like every morning when I'm driving to Dunkin' Donuts at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm thankful that I'm not driving to the dope house,
Mm.
right? Because that used to be my life for a long time. Wake up broke, no money, no drugs, sick. Now I've got to go out and commit 12 felonies by noon just to get one more bag, living my life $10 at a time. Whereas today it's like, one, I've got the money to spend at Dunkin' Donuts, and two, that's where I'm going in the morning, not to kill myself. And the gratitude that comes with the simple things like that allow me to keep that pink cloud as long as I do the necessary steps or the next right thing in my recovery.
It's that fresh start too, that it's like your second chance at life. I was telling my husband the other day, I feel like I'm only 10 years old because I'm 10 years into my sobriety. Like, I feel like I'm just now living, and I wasted so much on worry, like a concert, a trip. It was all surrounded by getting the liquor store, what drinks, how are we going to make the drinks? Oh, let's do daiquiris at the beach. Like, it was always in my money, and I always wanted to buy everyone their drink, so I had no money at the end. And then I was like, yeah, I'll tip them all this money, I'll just make, because I was in food and beverage making tips and bartending and stuff, and that cycle was never going to break ever. And I feel like I'm just now being able to appreciate the sunsets. And I have this huge flower tree in my front yard, and like
Simple.
gratitude. It's just grateful for the little things we took for granted for so long. And it's the blessing of our sketchy, crazy past is like, I'm still to this day going, wow, like just now, like if I was drunk, I wouldn't be able to like control my kids and like, or you know, not control them, but like balance it all out and still be a good mom. And yeah,
Every day, and I think about it too, like the gratitude we're referring to, that doesn't mean every day's easy. I still, today, I woke up, the weather here's been terrible. It's been cold again. We had some days, 70-degree days where it was nice and things were good and it was sunshine, and it's been gray and cold. And especially just getting back from Miami, this is like, this is horrible. And
yeah,
it's depressing. I woke up today and I was like, I don't want a life today. I don't want to face the world today. It sucks outside. But the difference in that is now that I don't use drugs, despite those feelings, despite the I don't want a life today, I don't want to deal with the public or anybody else, I do it anyways. And I have the courage to do it anyways and face the days it comes. If I was using, I wouldn't have done anything. I wouldn't have done anything but get
you
high,
still
hide in
had
the
drive
bedroom.
though. You had drive then, and you have to think
Yeah,
about that. Like, if I was able to get that done, I can get today done.
the drive is a lot different though. That's why, like we say, the drive to not be sick or to get that next high, it's strong. It's very motivating, right? Because I'm scared and I don't want to feel that way. But today it's just it's getting up and doing it despite how you feel.
And
It's getting up and
consistency.
doing it. And I've always heard in the rooms that I attend 12-step meetings, and they talk about, if you do a quarter of the effort towards your recovery and towards your life, towards your goals, towards your ambitions, before you know it, you'll look back and be like, what? You'll have a life beyond your wildest dreams. And that's what I've got today. I've got a life beyond my wildest dreams.
Yeah.
I get to the biggest thing, what we do here at Never Alone Recovery, we get to help people. I get to help the same people that struggle with the same struggles and feel those same feelings of inadequacy and shame and guilt and embarrassment and trauma. I get to help those people because I've been there, right? I've been through those same thoughts, those same feelings, the same emotions. And now I get to show people how to do it clean because I did it. and I use my experience to help them. Such a rewarding thing in recovery.
People need
And
to
that's
see
why I
proof.
love connecting with somebody like you. That's why I reached out to you, because you're going to town council meetings. You're making an effort, not just for yourself. Of course, you get help from it, but it's like to help the community. My motto is, I always say this, I'm now helping rebuild the same communities that I once helped destroy. And that's like my amends to the public, because I did a lot of crime. I hurt a lot of people. I always thought it was a victimless crime and I'm only hurting me. I
Yeah,
made the community an unsafe place for a long time.
yeah. I also say you don't know what you don't know. And like a
Yeah.
lot of people don't even know that like you guys exist over here or that there is people out there that care. I tell people I just advocate in my community, and during COVID I took it to social media, and there was such a welcoming response, and there's a lot of other big recovery content creators, and they gave me hope to just share my story, and then the views and stuff were showing, okay, people are responding to this and wanting help, and I couldn't help people all over this country. I could help my community, but you don't know what's out there. Or I also tell them that like no matter who you're gonna 90% of the people in recovery that you're going to reach out are going to meet you with grace because they understand it. There are a few out there that like to do it for the money or their ego or whatever, but that's in life in general. But a lot of it, like a lot of the people will, and that the embarrassment and shame and stuff is what keeps people from not, and their ego and from not reaching out. And that just breaks my heart because you can tell they want it, but they're just not hitting that ready, willing. When desperation meets willingness,
Correct. Yeah,
it's got to meet each other.
they do.
And it's just, there's so much more that this country can do to help the people out there. It's
And that's
crazy.
why I'm so happy we connected, because your voice is a powerful voice. Your passion for helping those struggling with addiction. And then I also think it's important for us that do this, because I know there's a lot of us out there that have, content create and talk about addiction, and we recover out loud. And I think it's so important for the substance abuse community or the recovery community, whatever you want to call it, because so many of us at one point we didn't have a voice. We played small in our lives because we were insecure and scared and fearful and all the things. So with the platforms that we use, it gives us a voice where we get to be proud of. We turn that darkness that we survived into loud and proud about hope, because I can't give you sober Barbie. I can't give you recovery. I can't give it to you. One thing I can give you, though, I can give you hope that through my experience, because I qualified myself, right? I've talked about the 52 arrests. I've talked about the loss of job and cars and facing, my first adult arrest, I was facing 60 years in prison. I thought I was gone. And to make it out to the other side, sitting here today, one, clean, two, with a life that I never thought possible, right? And that gives the people out there that are struggling just like I once struggled, struggling just like you once struggled, to be like, you know what? If that guy and that girl can do it, I can do it. So we didn't give them recovery, but we gave them hope to take a chance and not give up on themselves.
And plant a seed because you don't know. Maybe a few months from now, they might go, "Oh yeah, I remember that person that was so hopeless, and they found it. I think I'm ready now."
Yeah.
I was like literally taken as a joke forever. Like nobody took me seriously, and I'm still working through. Like I feel like I have trauma from that. Like, am I real? These people are actually taking me seriously right now. Like I went to a town council meeting, a county council meeting in the next town over because they're getting they're trying to get $100,000 to put opioid education in the schools. And this town is where all the illicit stuff's coming from that's coming into our community. And it's a rough town. But I went in there, they had gold elevators. It was like so fancy. But I couldn't believe, like, I'm being taken seriously finally. And it wasn't until I removed all the stuff that didn't give me a clear mind. Like I have the clearest mind there ever is. Like I can think straight. I can remember things. The biggest one is I'm accountable. And I since I got sober 10 years ago, my main goal is always to be on time because I never that's a big important thing for
Yeah,
me.
listen to that.
Kids test you on that one. They really do. But I'm
Yeah.
still aiming. And I'm even if I fail, I just pick right back up. I'm not gonna sit on that failure and go, okay, whatever. I was late that one time. It doesn't even matter anymore.
Well,
But I'm
we
still
beat
dealing with
ourselves up.
yeah, like bad. And then then you're a victim again. And
Yeah.
no, and that that's a big one too. You're playing victim. You're being like that was another thing. And they would just make me people would like own in on that to put me down. Like, hurt people too. But that was like a go-to. And I think that's why I've still like trauma from it. Cause that was just like my family was sick of me and I come from a large family. So they all that was their like main thing. And some of them still try to hold that against me. I'm like, that was 11 years ago and you accepted my amends. But I mean, maybe it is still bothering them and I still have to work on it's a constant, but but that's life. I mean, you can't please everybody. And what matters is that you are okay with you and you like I'm so true to myself and I have no secrets to have like I don't have secrets and I'm not like there's nothing you can expose of me or like it's just that you're gonna have haters no matter where you go in life or someone that's not gonna agree with you. But I'm so true to myself and I'm confident and I'm okay without a filter. I'm I'm okay if I got an extra couple pounds on me. It's like I'm happy in my own skin, which I've never had in my whole life. I remember as a child, I wanted to be like the girl down the street. If she got a new bathing suit, I make my mom go buy me the same. It had to. I made my mom send me to the expensive Christians, pull me out of public school, and send me to this huge tuition school just because she was there. Like I made my family get the same family car as them. Like I wanted to be like somebody else as a small kid. And my parents are still married. Like I came from that like cookie cutter perfect family, but I'm now seeing that it wasn't also perfect and I'm getting to the root of it all.
Everybody's got pain. Everybody has some sense of trauma or brokenness. Nobody's perfect, me especially. I didn't have that. My dad did the best he could with what he had. He raised four of us on his own.
Oh,
My
God
mother
bless
struggled in active addiction. She sold drugs, did drugs, and my dad, they got divorced because, these two sides of the law don't meet. But my dad was a DEA agent and he was the lieutenant of our local drug task force. He was always at work working two and three
that's a
jobs.
wild story.
Yeah, yeah. And, he did the best he could. He had to work a lot of jobs. He coached all my baseball teams, but like he was absent a lot because of work and having to make ends meet. And I victimized myself through that. I embellished all the things that were going on or not going on. I made it a big deal so I could act out. I was hurting. I was a young kid. My mom
Were
had
you a
died when I was 10.
storyteller?
What's that?
Were you a storyteller as a kid? Making up
I,
stories?
no, no, I didn't do that. But like just the victim mentality again, the victim mindset. If my dad didn't do this or did do this, I embellished it a little more than it was because it allowed me to stay sick and allowed me to act like a fool and do the things that I wanted to do, you know. And again, that's what changed my life. One of the things, there was a lot to change my life. And like I look back on it now, I'm grateful to have gone through everything I went through. I'm grateful to be an addict because the drive that comes from me being an addict allows me to accomplish great things in my life and other areas, not just recovery, but like I get to go out and be a part of the community today. I get to be a functional human in society. What?
Taken seriously, like you're taken like a serious normal
Yeah.
adult.
I used to look at the world and see people going to work or people with their families, or, and I was just like, oh, yeah, look at that. Like it was bullshit. It wasn't bullshit. It's just what I wanted, and I didn't know how to get it, and I didn't. I felt like I didn't deserve it. So like now,
That's the big one. You don't feel
I
like
am
you
one with
deserve
the world.
it, but we
I am one
do.
with the world.
Everyone does.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, life's good today. Life's good today with you know having the courage to pursue recovery. I don't use drugs no matter what. That's the first thing. That's the one thing I've got to do perfect is not use drugs no matter what. As long as I don't use drugs, I've got a chance at life. I've got a chance to deal with whatever comes down the pipe, whether it's easy, whether it's hard, whether it's good or bad. I can deal with it as long as I don't use drugs. Using drugs solves none of my problems today. It only creates more.
And it's cliche to say, but it's so true. Literally one day at a time. It
Of
you
course.
only have your only promise today, and you're not even promised the whole day. Like anything
Right.
could happen. It's literally moment by moment. And I used to, I'm sure you did too, like, okay, one day at a time. But like when you're
Yeah.
actually living it, it's different. All those
Well,
little
funny
sayings.
thing, you just said the one day at a time thing. I was the guy that all the cliches in the 12 step fellowships that we hear one day at a time and just for today and no matter what and keep coming back and keep it simple, stupid and all the stuff, right?
Kiss.
I hated it all so much. I'm like, look at these corny ass people talking this corny ass shit. Like I live by those quotes today. I live by those cheesy sayings. I am now a quote guy. I've got
Well,
actually no matter what.
you're applying it. You're not
Yeah,
just saying it,
yeah.
hearing it and saying it, but the action of it
The action
is
of it all.
so different.
So we're gonna wrap up here in a second, though. I want to ask you. I'm a quote guy. I'm a cliche guy. I love all that corny shit now. Um, I've got no matter what tattooed on my wrist. So, what is one of your favorite quotes ever? It doesn't have to be a recovery one, just a
Well,
quote.
it could go every which way, but it's the first one I really took seriously 10 years ago. Expectations are premeditated resentments.
Yeah,
You're just setting
yeah,
yourself up to be upset, pissed off.
yeah.
Don't do it.
So, yeah, exactly. Mine is show me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are. Because, when I was hanging out with the drug dealers, when I was hanging out with the pimps and the prostitutes and the drug addicts and the robbers and the gangbangers and all the people I was hanging, how did I expect to have a different life if I was hanging around those people?
Yeah. You're a
I'm
product of
that's
your
what I'm
environment.
gonna be. Exactly. And then today I look at my life and I hang out with people that are like talking business ideas, that are trying to grow their lives and to set up futures for their families and stuff like that. So like that's why I live by that one. Show me who you walk with and I'll tell you who you are.
I love that.
Love it.
I've never heard that. I like
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
like this
Well,
quote thing. I'll come
yeah,
up with
yeah.
some good
Well,
ones.
next week we'll end it with another one. So have one ready. So
So we should tell
uh,
them that we're going to try to do this every week. Same time,
so
right?
yes. Every Wednesday, we're going to do this at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Time.
And
We're going to go
hopefully
live. We're
have
going to
some
talk.
cool special guests maybe appear.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And the Zoom tonight, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Um,
So
it's
go ahead.
it's a good Zoom. I went in it last week. They have a guest speaker, a cool speaker usually, but tonight I think it's just a regular meeting, but it's so neutral. It's not just AANA. It's just like a generic 12 step, but If you don't even know
recovery.
what 12 steps are, you still come, and I'll be there. And I'm going to get my husband Bubba to come because it was such an powerful meeting last week. And I encourage all of you to hop on that Zoom. And and the best part about Zoom recovery meetings is people like to crosstalk, and like you're not supposed to do that in a meeting, but they have a chat and you can sit there and chat, and you can have your mic off if you have a crazy house, and like you get the whole experience with wherever you are. So you can talk still and get the point.
Yes, that's every Wednesday on Zoom at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can join it. You can go to Never Alone's Facebook page, Never Alone Recovery on Facebook. You can sign up for reminders. Like Krista said, it's easy. There's no strict rules. Of course, we want to respect each other, but like family members join from time to time. People that work in the healthcare and recovery communities join. Addicts join. So it's this. I don't know. It's a beautiful experience. Some
So
meetings are
much
bigger than
hope.
others. Some are
And I
small. You know
always
what I
feel
mean?
so good after a meeting, even if it's just a Zoom. Like I have this like natural like lightness on me, and my husband loves after I go to a meeting because I'm just like the best mom
You're
and the best
nice.
wife. Yeah. And I
So,
feel good, and I learn more from the people with one day.
yeah.
So
So like I said, guys, Never Alone Recovery. We're a complimentary resource for those struggling with addiction and mental health. Our numbers at the bottom of the screen, 855-831-9996. We can help you find sober living, inpatient, outpatient, detox. If you need a counselor, therapist, we can connect the dots for you, regardless of where you're at. That's a nationwide service. If you have no money, um, if you have money and you want to pay cash for treatment, whatever, we've got, some of the greatest resources that we work with. So reach out. I am one of the ones who answers the hotlines. Again, my name is Brian Bauner, and give us a shout. We thank you guys for being here with us and Sober Barbie.
thank
We
you.
love
This was
you.
fun.
And
I enjoy this, and
yes,
we'll think of something
next
real
week,
good to
same
talk about
time.
next week. Thank you.
So, Krista, if you'd stick around once we end the live, Austin wants to come in and talk to you as well. So I'm
Wait,
gonna end the
stay on the
stream and
live?
well, I'm gonna end the stream and then
Okay. But
we'll be
stay on
good.
the screen. Oh,
Yes.
okay. I'm
All
learning.
right.
This
See you
is
later,
all
guys.
new.
Yeah.
Bye.